what's good? It's your boy DJ G Money, one half of that duo of that Flip the Script podcast. Listen, we got the Patreon page going crazy right now. I need everybody to go rate, everybody go subscribe, go check it out, go like it, go share it, whatever you gotta do. Patreon page right now, Flip the Script Pod is on there. It's crazy. We got behind the scenes footage. We got exclusive clips up there. Stuff you can't find on YouTube is on our Patreon page. Go there right now, subscribe, rate, comment, all that. Talk to me nice. You know what it is, all right? DJ G Money, Flip the Script Podcast. We here.
So what's the goal of this place?
What do you mean?
What do you want to aspire to and become?
I don't know, man.
I don't know,
man. To be honest, I don't know. I just want to be
Just
be great.
one opportunity at a time.
Yeah, be all in the Army Reserve. Be all that you can be, man.
Well, you're going in. I think you're going in a good direction.
Yeah, well, you know, we try. Yeah. But we gonna introduce you. Hold on, Pat. We got to do it. What's up, G Money?
What up, though?
How you doing, man? Long time no see, man.
That's good, man. Talk to me nice.
Man.
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Moving, man. Baggy out right now. The record.
New single out right now.
Yeah,
Talk
man,
nice.
It sounds hot.
Yeah.
On SoundCloud, it was cutting off at the end of Kaya part. I don't know if it was. I keep hearing when Kaya said "whoa" and it stops. So I don't know if it was my phone, but I'm gonna hit it stops at "whoa." Did it stop or play? Did you hear the whole thing on SoundCloud? Does it play through?
I didn't even play it.
Did you hear the whole thing on SoundCloud? Did you listen to it? Oh, wow.
I posted it and let it fly. I didn't even.
Oh yeah.
I just let it fly, bro. I didn't even check it.
It's nice, man.
Thank you. But that's the end of the joint though. When you hit the whoa part, that was
she stops at "whoa."
Yeah, in my bag, whoa. Yeah, that's it.
She only did what, 8 bars?
And everybody did 8 bars. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How you feel about that, man? You back in the music business?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was telling Space Ghost, today in the car, man. I feel like I'm back in my baggie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's better.
Nah, I do feel like I'm back with with the whole Twitter that Queens is crazy.
Yeah.
When I was outside moving crazy.
Yeah. I see.
You know what I'm saying? We just did 2 radio interviews already, so
yeah.
I just feel the energy back, so it feels good, man.
I looked on the Snapchat. I saw you at 2 places, man. That was good. I didn't know how you did it. Then I saw something with some paint for some artwork. I didn't know where that was.
that was just 10 minutes ago.
That was scary.
He trying to see where we was at. He said, "Where you guys at, man? They running late."
Yeah. So, where was that?
This spot, it was actually right here on
G Money. You forgot I do that? You forgot I do that?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, man. How you doing, man?
We here. We lit, man.
Dawson's doing good, man.
He good. He out here wilding.
I heard his party was nice. I heard he hit his head and all that.
He was.
My kids told me he didn't want to play for like an hour after he did.
Yeah, he had a hard fall. He
could have temper tantrum.
His drink is not still there, bro.
What?
Yeah.
Stephanie lost her mind.
A little bit. Kind of crazy. But he's turned full, man. Shout out to Dawson's World.
Shout out to Dawson and all that, man.
Party was turned up.
What's up, Mama Money? She good?
Yeah, everybody good. What's good with you, man? What's
you
back out here wilding again, man?
Nah, man. I'm alright, man.
I leave you for a few weeks. You start going crazy.
One of the security guards downstairs said that because of the video that we did, he got suspended for 3 days.
Oh my God, I saw that. That was good.
Yeah. A lot of rappers and everybody posted it.
Ludacris.
Yeah, so he said he got suspended for 3 days. So we're gonna take care of him. Hopefully he have the proof. But I believe him.
That's wild.
He's a good guy. He did look out for me. But G Money.
Yo,
how you doing, man? You alright?
Yo, people stopping me now. Now that you back on your crazy rants and all that, people stopping me. Everywhere in the hallway, the stores, like, yo, your man out here wilding again, man. I saw the video with him, da 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 da. That's Taylor, da da da. Yeah, well, yo, what's up? You wasn't there? Is it real? I said, listen, this is why I don't be there, bro. Because I ain't got time to be. I tell them I only do certain pranks, so I can't be around for all that.
But I'm waiting for you. I've been waiting for the G Money, to start the G Money challenges because. So I intertwine, man. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully it starts soon, man. It starts soon.
What G Money challenges?
The G Money challenges on the YouTube, man. My YouTube has jumped up.
Oh no,
not the FlipDaScript one. The personal one is at 61,000.
We
moving in the right direction and stuff. So
nice.
Me
and Space been talking. Look at Space. Look, me and Space been having a lot of conversations.
I know.
So we working on it. Yeah. I've honestly been putting the effort
together. Yeah, I told him that he needs to take the initiative and push you because. Your mind is focused. Like you had one track mind, so it's DJing, family, DJing, runway, flip the script, and that's how you go. So he has to push it. Like, gee, we doing this. I told him, I called him and spoke to him. I said,
Nah, he has been. I told him the same thing. I said, yo, text me every day, bro. Just keep it.
He got to.
You know
I
what
told
I'm
him I had to talk with him and he's gonna do it. But G Money,
Yo,
episode motherfucking 47,
nigga, we made it.
That's a round of applause. We can't hear it this time because
No.
of that. So today we got a special guest. We got my man. He moved the mic, man. I guess he was feeling a little spicy. You know what I mean? My man. You know, I met this guy. Let me tell you how it came on. You know, every day I see Mr. Patrick. You know, I greet him. And then one day we had a conversation. We always had conversations. He showed me the stuff that he's into, and then we started talking about but I guess with the football, you were telling me how you felt about the football and about the sports and stuff.
Yeah. We were talking, and tossing around some ideas.
Yes.
And the wheels were turning in your head. This guy would be a good interview.
Yeah,
to-
well, yeah. You know, I'm from Queens. That's we like that. We like good interviews. But we got my man
Yeah. So
Patrick McAndrews in the building. Round of applause for Patrick, please.
That's a nice name, man.
Yeah. Round of applause for Patrick. How you doing, man?
Andrews,
feeling all right.
Feeling good. And we're gonna flip the script.
welcome.
I'm pleased to have met you guys. You never know what's around the next corner in life,
Yeah. So,
And
before I'm gonna, because how I'm gonna do it is that we're gonna do the interview, and then we're gonna do a 10-minute segment for Patreon. Give Patreon their own interview. But what stood out to me from you was the fact that you said that you felt offended that the players in the NBA, but mostly football, but you also mentioned NBA, were taking a knee during the national anthem. You thought it was a slap in the face. You didn't really use slap in the face.
I think it's unpatriotic.
Unpatriotic. So can you explain?
Not that everybody's got to be patriotic, but you cannot be patriotic, but you don't have to be disrespectful.
Now, can you explain to us why do you feel is disrespectful? Explain what you explained to me downstairs, because you know.
Why is it disrespectful to take a knee and not put your hand on your?
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people are not doing it now, so I want to know. A lot of people are not doing it, and
there's proper etiquette. It's not law, but it's tradition in this country to respect the flag.
Okay.
Stand for the national anthem, and there's a reason behind that. It's not just because it's an old tradition. It's because this flag means something, and it means a lot. A lot of people have died over it, and it's why we're free. It's why we're free to take a knee if we want to, or any form of protest, because people have fought for the right to say whatever you want, and it's not a right that should be taken lightly. It should be defended at all costs.
Okay.
Because once we start losing our freedom of speech, freedom of this, that, and the other thing, which it's not just a pie in the sky idea. It's always being attacked. There's always somebody trying to censor you. Always somebody trying to, lock away your ideas because they don't like them,
Okay.
And nowadays it's getting crazy. I mean, I remember when I was a kid back in the '60s, it was a crazy time, and I've seen a lot of stuff go down, and we are in crazy times again.
But
this is another generation
of craziness,
and it's
But don't you know why people have chosen to take a knee during the anthem? But that doesn't matter to you. That doesn't matter.
Not that it doesn't matter, but I just disagree that crying police brutality is such an important issue that it outweighs some of the other issues that we have facing us. Police brutality is an overhyped non-issue.
Patrick, you a gangster. I respect. For real? You really feel that way?
Of course.
But
And I got the statistics to back that up.
oh wow, yeah.
Talk to us nice, man.
And these statistics
I know.
come from the FBI.
Come on, Patrick, man.
What?
Serious guy.
That's
serious.
No, I'm with you. So time out.
I mean, the fact is, the cops treat everybody equally, white people as well as black. There is police brutality.
Okay.
But it's in a small percentage. It's in a small incidents. You have a couple of nuts. I do have some. I'm not backing the entire police department. The men in blue are our. That's our. That's the difference between anarchy and the rule of law.
Can you break down the definition of anarchy and the rule of law for us, please?
Anarchy is.
I'm sorry.
Anarchy is like the wild west.
Okay.
Where the strong.
Only the strong survive.
The criminals, the people who have weapons, can do what they please, and there's nobody can stop them, and there's no repercussions.
Okay,
there's no accountability.
Like the purge.
Nobody's going to come and arrest you. Back in the old days, that's why you had to have a quick draw.
Okay.
Because you were your own police in those days.
But the rule of law is basically being policed.
Now, the rule of law is what in everything that I've read in my whole life and everything, the rule of law is above all else. That's what we are as a civilized people, the rule of law. It goes back to the Magna Carta. It goes back to the Constitution, the Age of Enlightenment, all of these things. It took 750 years to develop the rule of law to where we have it today.
Before you continue, can you give how many things you think that is things you think is more important than police brutality? Can you give us 2 or 3 that you think that we're facing that you feel that is more important? You also said that you said police brutality is minute.
Well, the way I feel about things is all based on
statistics.
I was thinking about this the other day. My whole ideology, my whole philosophy is socialism versus capitalism.
Can you break down?
I'm a capitalist, and
value for value.
I don't like socialism. I don't like communism. Okay. Now, I was thinking of how everything leads right down to that path. Okay. Now, this is, to me, this is our most important issue. We have to step away from the socialists that this country is becoming.
What is socialist?
We are 50% socialist at this point.
You know what socialist is?
I think Google does.
The rights of the individual are the most important, that must be protected over and above those of the collective.
But wait. We just try to Google socialist, and it says
a person who advocates or practices socialism.
What's socialism? That's crazy.
Try the other one,
Google.
Bing. You start Googling Google, and they have a slanted viewpoint.
Facts.
They have algorithms that you do a search, and they only give you what they think that you should see. So we're in an age of internet censorship, and you have to guard against that.
So you said Bing.
Right now, Bing hasn't been bought up by the Google organization, but you can do a search with Bing and find.
So forgive me if I stop you and ask you for definitions, because sometimes it's the same thing, man. Adhering
or based on the principles of socialism. That's the
worst. What is the definition you got there?
This is the worst definition that anybody can.
An adjective is adhering to or based on the principles of socialism. What is a socialist?
Socialism.
Socialism
is where, in our current day in America, means everybody pays their taxes and we all split it up and everybody gets a piece of the taxes. which is not what government is for. But socialism goes back to ancient times. Back to the times when...
Patrick, my man, let's go, Patrick. Talk. Preach.
It goes back to when we had city-states where they built walls around the city to keep the barbarians from coming in. Mm-hmm. And they farmed the land, and it was by and large run by a king and his ministers, and they were the ones who ruled everybody, and everybody else was a serf. Mm-hmm. The 99% of the population worked the fields. They did what they had to do to produce the goods and services that you need to live.
Sound like slaves, man.
It's serfdom, slavery. It's as old as the hills, and it's a form of socialism. And there's a lot of socialism. In other words, if we all emptied out our pockets and put all the money on the table, and then we all split it up and handed it out to each other, that's a form of socialism.
Okay.
So there's a lot of forms. I consider these unions a form of socialism.
Okay, but so you don't believe in socialism? You don't like socialism?
No. How
do you think the country should be ran? Am I saying it correct? What do you...
For total free market, what they call laissez-faire capitalism. That's capitalism without government interference. And we should build down the government, and we should lower the taxes and put all of that money back in the pockets of the taxpayer and let him have a higher lifestyle. It's a very simple principle, Because socialism is like a cancer. It grows bigger and bigger, and it becomes a juggernaut. And you need more and more to fuel that socialist giant that's coming up, because they need more money. Like Bernie Sanders is on the air today. I'm coming on. He wants single payer tax. He wants single payer health care, which means only the government gives you health care. And they're going to be telling the doctors you got to serve this guy and this guy and this guy. And the cost is going to be the tax. They're going to have to raise the taxes in order to get that, And it's just crazy. There's a free market solution to everything.
I'm pretty sure you didn't like Obamacare.
No. I'm lucky enough I never had to use it. Because I was always employed by a company that had health care.
So Obamacare was for
some of these companies, like I saw that they were really, they had to bite the bullet, and they had to pay more money for the premiums.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it affected me in the fact that I'm working along with this company, and they can't give me a raise because they got to cover my health insurance.
Oh.
Health insurance skyrocketed. It's basically... It's a socialist idea. Everybody pays into this medical fund, and we give out free health care. We give out free this, we give out free that, we give out free that. As long as you vote Democrat, you can get the all the free stuff you want.
But wait, real quick, Pat. If you don't mind me call you Pat real quick, because I'm going to let G-Money take over for a little bit. But we have to, we stray off. That's why sometimes I have to, because, you have so much knowledge.
Oh, we're still getting back to the NFL, right?
Yes, there we go.
That's what you wanted to talk about the NFL.
I just want to, because a lot of people have their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like,
Well, I was saying that you said what could be more important than this issue of police brutality, and I'm saying this wide-ranging issue of socialism.
Gotcha.
Okay, that is part of an entire agenda.
Okay,
and it hits you from 11 different sides, not just one side.
Got it. Understood. So
this is what people should be guarding against. Not only guarding against it, but constituting their entire lifestyle toward avoiding it.
Okay.
And sidestepping it and becoming what is clearly a capitalist. You become a capitalist. You're out there to make money. You're out there to educate yourself, update your skills, make as much money as you can, whether you're your own entrepreneur, whether you're an employee of a company. This is the road I took. I'm an employee of a company. I never had the knack for making money, but I have a knack for showing up for work and collecting my paycheck. And so, but that's it's a sacrifice to do all of that stuff. But it is much better, to live under be a productive citizen that's producing a paycheck, that's producing goods and services, whatever, rather than have the government dole it out to you.
Got it. So them doing all that, I remember you told me about them. We're gonna wrap up the NBA, the sports situation. Remember you told me that
I've been actively on the internet. I've been telling people boycott the NFL, boycott ESPN.
Yeah, that was kind of
that, and
you've been a sports fan for
half your life. The way the NFL is going right now, they're 40% of their viewership are not watching it. And I was talking to a guy the other day.
But because of somebody bend the knee, because of Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of people won't like that.
Okay.
That's
Did you see something the other day where I forgot where it was at, but a guy took a picture of a woman that decided to, I don't know if she decided to remain seated, and he took a picture of her and he called her a racial slur. Do you think that's right?
Who's that?
Can you look it up? It was just put guy racial slur against women.
Well, what happened? I mean, you want my opinion? I don't think anybody should use any racial slurs against anybody. That's a pretty simple question.
Okay, so
Yeah,
but so it was the NFL.
I mean, if I knew what we were talking about here.
No, I'm gonna tell you. Well, what happened was, go up real quick.
But I do enjoy the old comedians back in the days.
Yeah, you go. You about to stop.
With the ethnic humor.
Go real quick. So NFL Detroit Lion banned ticket holder citing racial slur in Snapchat post. So basically, can you go down? Basically, the lady Lions fan posted the N-word loses season tickets. So basically, she didn't want to stand during, I think, the national anthem, and he got upset. And during
and the Lions did what?
The Lions banned him
for not banning.
No. For taking a picture of the woman and calling her the N-word. They took away his
Who got banned?
The man that did it.
And he called her
the N-word, yes.
And the Lions took away his season ticket.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. He could probably hire a lawyer, a slick lawyer, and get his season tickets back. But
not if the team bans it. No. You think?
Hey, look, if something like that happens, I'm not going to go to bat for this guy. It's the same thing with the Confederate statues. I hate that idea of taking down Confederate statues.
Oh, yeah.
That is the whole principle is removing history. But if you ask me what I think, I am not a Confederate. I'm a Northern Yankee. Okay. I am anti-slavery. I'm a Lincoln Republican. Okay, I believe in Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. I am anti-slavery, and if the war broke out, I would be a Yankee soldier. I'd be fighting for the Army of the Potomac. Okay, and we lost 360,000 Union soldiers died in the cause of slavery, to end slavery. And you think things were crazy then. Then think about what happened in the Civil War, And hey, look, the Southerners, that's who they identified with. The Southerners were all Democrats, okay? This is where the Democrat Party started. They talk about Thomas Jefferson, but it was really President Andrew Jackson, the Southerner from Tennessee, who began the Democrat Party, okay? And after the Civil War was over And
explain what Democrat Party mean, but you explain to me downstairs.
After the little history on the Democrat Party is that when the Civil War was over, these were returning Confederate soldiers who started the KKK. Their legislators began the individual states with the Jim Crow laws. The Jim Crow laws were all down south. Those are southern laws from Southern Democrats. Okay, and this continued on all the way. You can trace it all the way back to 1964, when LBJ made a deal with Martin Luther King to get. Martin Luther King had all the black votes. He had the black people eating out of the palm of his hands, and what he said would be word. And he cut a deal with LBJ. LBJ basically said, "Listen, we're going to have this war on poverty, and we are going to have, go pro-Democrat." And ever since that time, blacks have been voting in droves Democrat. And it wasn't until Trump that you saw blacks leaving the Democratic Party. And
who's LBJ?
Huh?
Who's LBJ?
Lyndon Baines Johnson. He was our president. He was the president who took over after Lincoln.
That's what I said.
I mean, after John F. Kennedy. When Kennedy was shot, he was the vice president, and they swore him in.
Okay. And he made a deal with Martin.
Then in '64, he ran for president, and he got elected. He beat Barry Goldwater. So he actually served a 4-year term in his own right, not as the guy who took over for Kennedy.
Wow.
So he was a legitimate president, but the Vietnam War spun out of control under him, and he was really the father, the great father of the welfare state. And
I'm gonna say, man, I think I think you should be a social studies teacher, man. What do you think?
Yeah, he's a legend, man. I told you.
I probably
did you used to teach back in your days?
I could probably walk in and pass the history test. I study a lot of history.
I see that.
And,
I would like to take your class though. You sound like you have a real subtle way of telling the story.
Maybe I'd make more money.
Yeah, well.
Teachers, I don't know how much they get paid nowadays, but
With these United Federation of Teachers, where a 9-year tenured teacher, you're talking about $110,000 a year.
jeez.
Lifetime benefits, cradle to grave benefits, and you only work 7 months out of the year.
That's a fact. Summertime, vacations, all the holidays.
Yeah.
Why you press this up?
The money talking, man. This is it. This guy talking that money talk over here.
Well, you said that you don't like the fact that they're taking down. You don't like the fact that they're taking down the Confederate statues, right? But you said that you're a Northerner.
No, I not on the principle that I'm so in love with Robert E. Lee. On the principle that to erase history like that is something we've seen in other civilizations. You go back to the ancient Egyptians, who had 33 separate dynasties. And each dynasty, when they came into power, they erased everything from the last dynasty. They knocked all the statues, everything, gone. Now we're starting all over again. So you can't even go back and read that history because it's been destroyed. This is what the Nazis did. This is what the Stalinist Russians did. This is what, Chairman Mao. This is what all the communist dictators would do. This guy in Venezuela. He's trying to erase their history and censor everybody. Nobody can say anything. It's really it's a very common thing among these dictators. It's called thought control.
Mm-hmm.
How you know all this stuff, man? When you're working out,
I'm 60 years old, man. I've seen a lot. I've seen.
When you're working your job now, do you always like research as you're working? I feel like
I'm always listening to the internet. The internet has become a wealth of knowledge. I mean, this little phone I got in my pocket. I got the keys to the Library of Congress, and the Library of Congress tries to make it their business to have every publication of everything that's ever been written. And I just have to go bing, 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 and I got it.
She said.
That's what she said. Yes. Do you feel that? This is an honest question. Do you feel that black people get a fair shake? That's it's part of a. This is a 2-part question. Do you feel that we get a fair shake because we was promised 500 acres and a mule? I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? I just said,
40 acres and a mule. That comes from Southern Democrats back in the 1840s. That was a campaign promise.
You should go with Jeopardy, man. I swear to God. This guy's a legend. Yeah, talk to us, man.
Told you.
When the Constitution was written by Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, our first Supreme Court justice, and
University,
and James Madison, and if you read it, it's a publication called the Federalist Papers, the Federalist, but they call it the Federalist Papers because they were newspaper articles trying to convince people to ratify the Constitution in 1789 it was, and they succeeded. But one of the things they warned about is what they call factions. There are people who will get into office and they will take the government treasury and they will offer it to people and say, vote for me and I'll set you free, as the Temptations like to sing, right? Mm-hmm. And you will all get your piece of the pie. Of course, you're going to have to live not the greatest lifestyle, but we'll keep you, we'll give you public housing, we'll give you, just enough to get by. Mm-hmm. We just need you to be able to be comfortable with that, mm-hmm. and not worry about getting rich, and we'll take care of you. And it's amazing. But anyway, way back then they was warning about that, about people who would take the government's treasury and basically buy votes. The whole stipulation to the whole thing, you go vote Democrat. So we need you to turn up for these elections and vote Democrat.
Turn up for the election.
You'll see this Democratic machine in operation with our next mayoral election.
Oh, Lord. Well, wait. What was the definition of the 40 acre and a mule? That black people get 40 acres of land, right? And
I'm trying to think now. It was 40 acres of land and a mule. Yes, okay. That was during the times when there was plenty of space out there. Go west, young man. And that was a promise made that, of course, you vote for us. You will be able to take some of that space, that acreage out there that basically, if you wandered out too far, the Indians will attack you, Yeah, and but that was the promise.
But we didn't get it. You know that. We didn't get it, Pat.
Well, anyway, what's the concept behind it?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask you. I thought you would know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That's what I asked you, man.
Is the concept that you're deserving of something?
I guess. You don't think so? Look at the Jews. The Jews got.
All I can speak for is myself, and nobody ever handed me anything.
Okay, so you believe that we should work out. You believe people should work.
The work ethic. It's called the Christian work ethic. If everybody had it, think of what a great world this would be. It's like something simple, like walking in the subway, mm-hmm. and I carry my coffee cup until I reach a garbage can, right? And I throw it away. And as I'm throwing it away, I say to anybody who will listen to me, you see what I just did? I threw away my garbage. Now, if everybody did that, subways would be clean, right? Mm-hmm. But no, 2 feet away from a garbage can, you got garbage all over the place, and you got rats running across the whole place.
That's true.
Now, that concept of the work ethic, everybody has a good work ethic, they educated themselves, they elevated their skills, they didn't depend on anybody else, they didn't have to go to government and they reach out for the government's tit,
Mm-hmm.
then this country would be beaten on all 8 cylinders, and it's really what made the country the greatest country in the world.
But you love America so much, but you know that Christopher Columbus, how you guys, how we came to acquire this country, right? We took it. It's not really our country, to be honest. That's what
Whose country is it?
I guess it's the Indians. I guess
This is a conquered land.
Come on, Pat, man, be fair, Pat. So if somebody come and take the land from us, it's theirs then.
Then it's theirs, yes.
Oh,
And who's going to do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if somebody take the land from us, it's theirs. You just.
That's right.
You respect that.
Yeah, you have to respect it.
Okay. You know that we.
You have no choice.
He laughed a little bit. That's good. There we go.
Pat, come on, Pat.
Oh, God,
That's
man.
a little far, Pat. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Took the land from the Indians, Pat. Admit it, man. Call it what it is, man. And then over there in South Dakota.
When we got here in the 1500s, okay, it's 500 years ago.
15.
The white man,
Yeah.
man came upon the shores. Actually, my ancestors were the earliest ones. I'm a Viking. I'm half Swedish.
Okay.
We landed in Newfoundland, and we didn't enslave anybody. We just actually got on our boats and went back. But the Indian, when we got here, is an estimated population of 100,000 Indians all across the whole continent. That's not a lot of people.
No.
And they were barely out of the Stone Age. They were living in teepees, running around with bows and arrows, hunting down things. And a white man came along and within 240 years built all of this. This is not something that the Indian on his own would have done. If left on his own devices, he'd still be chasing around buffaloes.
Oh, shit, Patrick, come on, that's not nice. Oh, Lord.
Well, I'm being truthful.
No, that's not nice, Patrick.
Now,
Come on, man.
what has been done
straight
for
face.
the Indian in 300 years? Call it 300 years. It took a population of about 100,000. By the time 300 years came around, call it 500,000. Now there's 450 million Indians, American Indians, full-blooded Indians that call themselves Indians in America, and a lot of them have their own land reservations they can live
but we
on.
also took the land from
A lot of them have assimilated into the American culture.
Didn't they try to run the pipe through their land that we gave them? Which is not fair. It's not fair, but
Well, there are anarchists who try to stop progress, but the American Indian, the modern day Indian, benefits from all the modern civilizations and all the trappings of civilization. The clean water, the electricity, the flat screen TVs, the clothes that you wear on your feet. This is also my argument about
But
capitalism.
they don't watch TV though.
Who doesn't watch TV?
Some of the Indians,
All of them?
not all.
Have
of
you
them,
interviewed all of them and found out what they watch
some
on
of them-
TV?
but some of them don't.
Some of them are really extremists, and they believe in the old ways, and they,
Living outside, the teepees
when we first found the Indian, either he was naked or he was living in buckskins. They hadn't perfected the way of weaving cloth yet. They haven't perfected the way of metallurgy, that is, of mining metal out of the ground and melting it down and making instruments with it. They haven't gotten to that point yet. They were just in the wilderness here.
Was this before the Aztecs and the Mayans and all that? Was the Indians before or after?
This was during
Okay, because the Aztecs and them.
the Aztecs and the Mayans.
They had great technology. They had.
They had quite a civilization going for them. Although it can be argued whether this is good or bad, because they had a lot of human sacrifice going on.
Yeah, but they did have.
And it was now the most important ship in history. It would be the Spanish galleon, the same kind of ships that Columbus took, because they started mass producing those ships and they sent ships all the way around to the tip of South America, up the other side of South America. They circumvented the globe, the Spanish conquistadors. They established that Spanish European civilization all across the Americas, in the Caribbean, all the way down in South America, all around the other side, all the way up into California. You go up to California, they have some ancient Spanish names. What is San Francisco, right? What is, one after the Sacramento. All of these different names come from the Spanish explorers who came on these old Spanish galleons. And eventually the English and the French navies took over, and the Spanish were done there. And their navy kind of disappeared. But by that time, their people had populated these countries. Now, what had happened with the Mayans and the Aztecs and the people down there, the Taino Indians and whatnot, is that they didn't have enough firepower to overtake these people. Really what happened was disease. They came in with European diseases that they couldn't handle.
I read that.
And people were dropping like flies. And they were able to walk in and just own everything.
The Europeans, back in the days, they were raised around the animals, so they were used to, the animals, so they became immune to some of the diseases.
I think to be a sailor in those days and to be a pioneer, you have to be a strong-willed, physically strong son of a bitch to be able to cut your way, to build a log cabin, to hunt your food down, to do all. You didn't have a store right on the corner that's stocked to the ceiling with food in those days. You weren't guaranteed a meal, actually. You had to do everything from scratch, and
I feel like you were there, man. The way you tell me stories is like,
you would think. G Money has some questions. I'm gonna ask 2 more questions, but G Money, before I get into my other 10-minute segment, then we're gonna wrap it up. But G Money has some questions for you that he wrote down. If I don't let him ask it, I'll take it with him.
So if you think you're entitled to 40 acres and a mule, do you think that you are entitled to reparations for slavery?
Yes, not me, but some of the people.
But somebody is, right?
Yeah.
Well, who?
I don't know, the people that.
Well, as I stated before, 360,000 men lost their lives fighting for slavery, and that's a debt that's been repaid in full.
Well, why weren't the Jews?
And also, you really have to get into the history of slavery to realize how minute that our slavery in America, in those little southern states, what that represents. That represents a small smattering of the worldwide slavery.
Everything is small to you. Why you don't want to talk about the Jews for? I noticed that you skipped that. You don't want to talk about them?
The Jews?
Yeah, they're powerful. You believe that they're that powerful too? You believe that they run the world?
I grew up in Brooklyn. I had some objection to Israel and all of this, but now, actually it was during the Obama years, I grew a great respect for Israel and the Jewish people.
Why?
I realized these people are not only our allies, but
who allied? The American?
Yeah, they're part of the American culture. They're part of the American mindset. They are, not every Jew who ever lived lived this noble life, and they took the vast amount of money that they were able to acquire through their cultural habits, and a lot of times they just either were selfish with it or they put it toward bad things. But on the overall, we owe a lot of our culture to the Jewish people.
Oh, really?
Not to say that the Bible, the Judaic Christian Bible is our Bible. I don't know how you feel about religion, but
I really don't get into
religion. This is one of the great things about America is you have a choice. I choose to educate myself on all religions because I have my own relationship with God. But the greatness of this country is you do not have to subscribe to any religion. You can turn your back on religion if you want.
But you do have to subscribe to the podcast, though. Flip the script. Make sure everybody subscribing, like podcasts and everything. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not hearing what you're saying.
No, I'm saying they do have to subscribe to the show. That's the.
So he was saying that.
Yeah, that's cool.
You said that you don't have to subscribe to religion, but
how much is it? $16 a month? How much is
it? Money talk. Let's go. There we go.
Money again.
I like her, man. You know what I'm saying?
You like her? You like Patrick?
Look at. He's a cool guy.
He's smart, man.
Too cool for school. He sound like Mr. Feeney, man. Yeah, Boy Meets World. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just want to mention a personal note, which ties into everything, but in its own way. But personally, this is September, and we're going into the third week of September, and the first week is an anniversary for me, which is no drinking. Celebrate another year of no drinking, and this is a special one.
How many?
10 years. Now, 10 years before that, I spent my whole adult life being Mr. Man About Town, doing all kinds of stuff. I can't say I didn't have fun. And I used to drink guys under the table. But it was limiting me. I know I have a brain in my head, and and at this point, I can really safely say that...
Sorry, but I remember when you told me if you watch Shaft with the volume off. You told me that downstairs about the movie Shaft. Remember we were talking about Shaft?
Yeah.
So there's a horrible movie, but you can watch it with the volume off. I don't know why that just...
it's a crappy movie, but the fact is Shaft is one scene after the other of all of these great shots of New York City, especially the Times Square area. And we used to take the subway and cut out of high school and go to Times Square and hang out. Oh, here we are. Whoa. Pimps over here, junkies, porn, all of this.
Yeah.
And
peep shows?
Let me tell you something. Cleaning up Times Square is a modern day miracle. I don't think anybody was... Right? I thought the Times Square was going to be like that from time immemorial to the kingdom come. And I can't believe it when I go down there and I see all of that stuff gone.
Giuliani did it.
No, it was actually Mayor Koch who began it. Mayor Koch, they had to wait out these leases. They had to wait out the leases. They had to say, you were not renewing your lease. Oh, but we have a 10-year lease. I got a 20-year lease. Okay, very well. We can't do anything to you, but when your lease is up, you are moving out.
He had to be there for all this.
And it took all of that time through the Giuliani years, and they got those properties. And those properties are then they warehoused and they got everybody out. Boom, they got rid of some of those great old buildings and they put up the brand new buildings. And
so Ed Koch started it. It was Ed Koch that started it.
It was an idea back in his day. He was a 3-term mayor. He, he was.
I thought Bloomberg was the first 3-term mayor.
No. No, it was the city. The city laws are easy to circumvent. I wouldn't.
Bloomberg served real quick. 4 terms or 3? Bloomberg.
It was only 3, wasn't it?
I don't know. You tell me.
No. I don't know. All I know is that we got to get this guy de Blasio out.
Oh, come on. Wait. We ain't gonna talk about that yet. Wait. So Ed Koch started it, and then it ran to the Giuliani.
Yeah, this is the cleaning up. That kind of a project is not something you can snap your fingers. It took a long time to get rid of these people who were firmly entrenched and over generations in there, and they held property.
Central Park used to be a place where some of the black people used to live. Forgot what it was called. You ever heard about that?
Well, a lot of people used to live in a lot of different places, but I'm an advocate of Robert Moses. You know who Robert Moses was? Robert Moses was one of the great builders of New York. Okay, He built the Belt Parkway. He built the
Oh,
Cross Bronx
I know the
Expressway.
Belt Parkway.
He built.
Yeah,
he
built.
built
You know what I'm saying?
Why he call it the Belt Parkway for?
the Belt Parkway.
Why did he call it that? Why did he build it?
Well, there's another name for it that's called the. I forget what the name is. But anyway, he used the laws of eminent domain, saying the city needs your property. They did this to build the Brooklyn where the Nets play, the
Barclays
Center. They said, we need this property. We'll give you a fair market price for it, a generous market price, but you got to up and move because we're coming in with the bulldozers. And he did this, and he built all of the major roadways in New York. And you should Google him. Robert Moses. There's a guy you don't know much about. One of the great builders.
Google Robert Moses.
But people call him people
guy,
call him evil because he
Yeah,
made
some
people
notes,
get
notes.
up and move out of their house. You know,
This legendary guy. Huh?
Look at this.
and it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Central Park. At a certain point after the Civil War, they said, "Listen, we have these big plans for Central Park, and whoever's living here can't live here anymore because we got these big plans."
There, though, man. We were there, man. Well, I wasn't there, but you know,
Somebody was there.
I forgot. Look up Central Park before.
Well, what do we do about Harlem? I mean, somebody
hey,
wants to walk into Harlem and say, "I want
Leave
this
Harlem alone,
brownstone,"
man. Leave Harlem alone, bro.
and I got the gelt for it.
Leave Harlem alone. You know they ain't taking Harlem from us. You know that, Pat. They can't take Harlem. You can't take Harlem from black people.
Well, Harlem was a Dutch name. It was built by the Dutch. Actually.
I didn't know that.
What don't you know, man?
But anyway, I'm just saying that
let's ask you a few questions.
This is all property.
Hold on, man.
It's all property.
Mr. Feeney, hold on.
And everything has got its price. There is no sacred ground.
Leave Harlem alone, Patrick.
Hold on.
Leave Harlem alone. Harlem is us, bro.
We're gonna ask you a few
Harlem
questions,
is
man.
a changing face, man. It's becoming different all the time.
Uptown's crazy. You know, those guys out there. Those guys are fast talkers out there.
What they doing in Harlem, Trace?
I'll just bet you I've been up in Harlem playing more basketball than you guys have. Okay.
Oh well.
You don't play no basketball, man.
What?
I am Mr. Have Basketball Will Travel.
What that mean, man?
See,
You're a legend, man.
Everything don't dribble the ball. He just.
You got some questions.
I estimate that I played about 2,600 schoolyard games in my time.
What is
number-
where does number come
I
from?
learned the game over in Marine Park.
Where do you get these numbers?
I switched
Marine Park.
because I played for up until the age of 44. I
But-
played
what-
religiously. I used to go everywhere
Wait,
with
Marine
a basketball.
Mm.
From Marine Park, I started working at nights, and I made the West 4th Street and 6th Avenue court. That was my home court. We used to play at night, and I would defend that court against all comers. I was the man in that court.
What year were you in Marine Park?
That's a small little bathtub. You grab the rebound from that court. You look around at all these guys saying, and you say, you know what the best strategy is? Fuck them.
Yeah,
I ain't passing. I'm going coast to coast with this sucker.
Go, Mr. Feeney.
You bounce 7 dribbles, and you go in, and you lay it in, and that's it. Because once you start passing on that court,
yeah, that's it.
you don't know what's going to happen.
Can't get it back after that. It's over.
So
did you do the jelly when you did it too? You did a little bit of jelly when you did
I'm
it?
a lefty.
The
I do
Ginobili! He was out here wilding. Yo, I have some questions for you, man. Let's see how smart you really are. All right, hold on. What was the name of the currency used in Spain before the euro?
Spanish? What was it? What was the Spanish currency?
Before the euro.
Before the euro.
Yeah,
I probably know it, but I just forgot it. Nobody
Come on,
asked
Mr.
me
Feeney.
for this. Well, peso is the Mexican. It's
PES.
what is it?
PES. I'm just giving you the first 3 letters.
PES. I don't know.
How you say it?
I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
You should ask some questions, man.
I'm trying to see. All right.
Yeah.
Which American inventor is generally
But anyway,
given?
I'm a big fan of dissolving the
Hold on,
European.
hold
I'm
on.
a big fan of dissolving that European Union. They're a bunch of globalist socialists. It's the biggest socialist organization that ever happened. They have plans of world domination.
Patrick.
And you're going to see these guys next week in this neighborhood when they have the UN General Assembly, and all of these globalist socialists are going to get up on the podium and talk about how America.
Oh Lord.
Wait, for president. Two more questions. I go with you, man. Two more questions. Which American inventor is generally given credit for the invention of the lightning rod?
The Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, my man is lit.
He wasn't a president.
It's an American inventor.
Oh, who invented it?
Which
The
American
lightning
inventor
rod.
generally?
Well, yeah, you know,
Benjamin
Benjamin Franklin
you got it right.
flying his kite, with his
one
son.
more, man. I'm gonna just throw a shot at cannon in the dark. All right, you gotta fuck one, marry one, you gotta kill one. Oprah, Beyonce, and your wife. Which one?
Oh Lord.
Oprah, Beyonce, and your wife. Fuck one, marry one, kill one. Talk to me nice.
Well, I already married my wife.
She's good. Okay.
Who the hell wants to fuck Oprah anyway?
She got a lot of money, man. I don't know. Some people might take it down. Some people like the money. The money talk. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not big on Beyonce either.
Oh, damn.
She's another Politico.
So you probably kill all
She
three
should
then.
concentrate on her act and not talk politics.
Real quick, two more questions before we why you didn't like Barack Obama?
Why didn't I like him? Because he's a traitor to the country. Did you see the hurricane we had? And they were asking for donations. We could have used $150 billion that he shipped over to Iran, to give to these people who are going to use it not only to spread terrorism, but to build a bomb that might go off. Imagine if a nuclear bomb goes off in some city somewhere, probably a European city, and this is the Iranians behind this, and this is the result of our taxpayers' money going from. I mean, it goes on and on with Obama. What? I mean.
You didn't like him even before he became president.
First of all, when he first became president, he was a one-term Congress senator, and what did he know? What was his qualifications? He was only elected because he was black, and that was his only qualification.
That's good.
I respect it.
Well, you can roll your eyes about it, but you can't come up with any factual.
So who would you have rather been selected that year?
I would have taken anybody. Who was it at the time? It was John McCain. I would have voted for McCain. And then after that was Mitt Romney. I would have voted for Mitt Romney. And now, as it turns out, both of those guys are kind of a little bit on the despicable side.
How you feel about Hillary?
Hillary?
Yeah.
Hillary's a criminal.
Criminal?
Yeah. A liar and a criminal. It's just amazing that she's not in jail, and the things that the Clintons have been able to get away with.
So you don't like Bill either?
They control.
Bill's my guy, man. I like him. He was cool.
Well, there's just so much bad about the Clintons that and it's.
I heard they robbed.
Oh yeah, you know what went on in Haiti, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I wasn't there though, but I heard it.
Well, there's just it goes on and on. We can get a laundry list of all kinds of stuff that goes on with these people, and we dodged a bullet by not electing Hillary Clinton and bringing in Donald Trump. Thank God we have somebody like Trump. He's been in office 8 months now.
Okay.
1.5 million. We're looking at 2 million jobs pretty soon. 1.5 million jobs in the bank already. Wall Street's going nuts. 3.0 growth percentage in the gross national product.
Real quick, let me cut you off. When I spoke to somebody,
it all relates to the economy.
It's
economy. You fix the economy, you'd be shocked at how many other issues, social issues, fall into place if everybody's working and everybody's got a good lifestyle.
They said the jobs was on the rise already before Trump came in. They said with Obama, they said even with going back to President Bush.
Yeah, but this is the false news agencies trying to give Obama credit for what,
so what about President
for the
Bush?
work that Trump has done.
Oh shit! For what Trump did? Did President Bush start getting us jobs? I heard the jobs started to increase from. Remember the market crash? Remember?
It depends what Bush you're talking about. The elder or the younger?
The younger.
The younger.
The one that took us to Iraq.
He was a great compromiser. He compromised with the Democrats left and right, and he never really got things started. And he had the bad luck of being the 9/11 president. Okay. And he had to throw aside everything that he was trying to do to concentrate on this war on terrorism, which became all-encompassing, all-engulfing. Billions was spent. It was 9/11 was really the most in a lot of ways, not just 2,000 people died. In a lot of ways, it was really the worst disaster that anybody could imagine. These Islamicists succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. And
so, what do you like about Donald Trump? You know, I liked him for Celebrity Apprentice at the time. That's what I liked about him. But but what do you like about him as a president? You know, I think that I will give him credit.
I've been listening to him for 30 years, and
but wait,
I wasn't paying strict
stop.
attention. But now that he's elected, I go back and I watch YouTube and I look at these old pictures.
He did call for the death penalties for the people, for the 5 guys that were found innocent for the Central Park. The Central Park. What's this? Can you look up the Central Park?
Where did you hear this? I never heard this.
Yeah, Central Park 5. He took out an ad in the newspaper and said that, and he still feel the guys are guilty. He still feel they're guilty even though they were found innocent DNA. You know, they were
just because you're found innocent in this country doesn't mean you're innocent.
Patrick, come on, man.
Slick talker. We can point to numerous examples of that.
No, Pat, that's not right, man. They were found innocent, man. Come on, man.
Well, all right. You're going to put this case on me. All I can say is I don't really know that much about the case, and I don't really connect Donald Trump's entire ideology to whatever happened with that case.
Okay.
But
you respect Donald Trump's
why don't
ideology.
you tell me how much you know about it, and how do you know these guys are innocent?
They were found innocent by DNA evidence. DNA doesn't work anymore.
So it's the Central Park jogger who was jumped upon and beaten senseless.
Mm-hmm.
They only found the DNA of who?
They said that
one guy did it.
Yes. Remember 5 people got incarcerated.
That's what I know. It was they found out that one guy did it.
Not out of the 5 though.
Well, some people would say they were taking turns on her. I'm not sure, but it was just a nasty freaking crime.
What about the guy that shot the guys on the train station? You like him too? Was the guy that shot the guy on the train station? We were talking about him one day.
Donald Getz.
Yeah, that was your boy.
Well, listen, if you're in the same position and you've got a gun on you, and these guys are like all around you. I take the subway more than this guy Bernie Getz does. I am on the subway all the time, and years goes by and nobody bothers me, And I just don't think in my mind that I'm going to come across a situation where I'm going to have to use deadly force to get myself out of a situation. Okay. And I'm saying this. Meanwhile, look what happened in London yesterday.
What happened?
Some guy set off a firebomb in the subway in London. and 23 people were burned, and countless people were trampled trying to get out of that subways. A couple of hundred people were really injured badly. Luckily, nobody died, but the burn unit was overcrowded. But just think about that. There was a crappy bomb that wasn't that effective. Imagine if you had a real bomb and you could blow these people to pieces. Right?
And you say you're not worried about
the same thing. You could just come into a subway, boom, door open, let me get the fuck out of here, and then you look behind you, and boom, there goes the whole subway car, right?
Yeah. Well.
And that's always been a possibility. You have to think about that, right? How many times have you thought about that?
I don't take the train, so I don't think about it anymore.
Well, you know.
I don't take the train in years.
Facts.
Over 8 years.
It's so vulnerable. Anybody could walk onto a subway. And,
so,
you know.
but real quick, let's end it on Donald Trump. So you like Donald Trump? Why? What do you like about him?
I like just about everything he stands for. I like the building of the wall.
Okay.
I wish I could show you. I did a 29-slide presentation of how I think the wall should be built.
Okay.
I'll talk about that, but taxes. He's trying to get to lower taxes. That's going to put more money in everybody's pockets. That's going to stimulate the economy. Everybody's going to have a job. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I mean, foreign policy. I think we should have elected him on foreign policy alone. On not only the war on terror, but how he deals with TPP, the Trans-Pacific Trade, and the NAFTA agreement. He wants to get rid of that, and he wants to go country by country instead of everybody having a collective agreement with everybody's involved. Go country by country, and everybody's got their own trade agreement. You want to deal with us, the United States, you're going to pay so much tariffs. We're going to pay your tariffs. We're going to arrive at a deal. The main question behind this deal is, do you want to do business with us, and do you want to prosper? And it's up to them, really. It's the same thing with this NAFTA deal. He's saying, if we can't get a good deal, we might have to chuck it.
I've been trying to look. I don't know what NAFTA means. Well,
it's not a fair trade agreement. It's an agreement that we pay, and you know we send. Basically, it makes it cheaper for them to develop factories in their country, because our tariffs and our taxation rate, we're up to 35% taxation on businesses now. He wants to lower that down to 15%, be competitive with the rest of the world, bring back some of these people, like Apple phones have decided to come back, or they had their headquarters in Ireland, and now they want to bring it back here. You know, and he's gotten a couple of thousand, it's like 1,500 companies already. He gets on the phone with these people and say, listen, we want you to come back to America. We want you to build your factory here. We want your jobs in America, and we're going to give you something in return. We're going to lower your tax rate. We're going to give you tax incentives. You don't have to pay through the nose in order to do business here anymore.
What about the stuff that he tweets? What about when he said he was going to grab the...
I like the tweeting. I like to be able to hear exactly what's on my president's mind, and all I got to do is go to...
What about the grabbing of the woman in the vagina?
What's that got to do with anything?
Locker room talk? Yeah. I'm just saying...
Does that make him anti-woman?
No, not me.
What does that make him anti of anything, really? I mean,
I don't know. That's your opinion.
The man's got, double-digit grandkids. He's been married how many times? I mean, you know, we can talk about this. We could talk about the Clintons. We could talk about John F. Kennedy and all of these other people who used and abused the Oval Office.
What did John F. Kennedy do? You talking about Marilyn Monroe?
Marilyn Monroe, and let's take the collective Kennedys, that whole clan. That's a culture of I mean, good God,
It's a legend.
But anyway, Trump is not even in that league. Okay. Trump is, despite the fact that he's been married several times, is a real good family man. All his. I mean, look at that first family. I mean, it's just incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You think he has a good first lady on the side?
Melania, I admire Melania. She went the distance. She became an American citizen the right way, and
you also copied Michelle Obama's speech.
That whole plagiarism was made up by the Washington Post. It's not plagiarism.
How about it?
You compare the two speeches; they have nothing to do with each other.
Patrick, come on, man. Oh,
come on, what?
Shit.
I remember that thing, and I remember two lines of it was similar, and that was it.
Yeah, Pat, be fair, man. Don't do that.
I never heard Michelle Obama get up and recite the Lord's Prayer. When did that ever happen?
Michelle Obama's a good woman, Patrick.
She is the Lord's Prayer. How about that?
Yeah, be fair, Pat. Come on, man. Call it what we call it. Call it what we call it, Pat. Be fair, man.
I wonder if she's still proud of America now that she's out of office.
Well, probably. I don't know. So Melania Trump, you respect her.
Not only that, she's fulfilling the role of being the most gorgeous first lady we ever had. She's a couple of notches above Jackie Onassis, right?
Wait.
Who the hell?
So wait.
They say Dolly Madison was a good looker in her days, but that was
Pat,
200 years ago.
There's something wrong with you, man. In a good way, though. One thing I do commend you on is that I can respect somebody that's adamant about their belief. But this is why we have opinions and we can agree, disagree. I really, I do see a lot of people, even African American, on YouTube say they had a problem with Obama. I don't know why. I don't know. Even some
He's a socialist.
Even some African Americans, they did videos as far as Obama. I saw it from my own two eyes.
Listen, if it came down to it, and a black man ran for president, I wouldn't. I would vote for him. It all depends on ideology.
Okay, I respect
it's
that.
all about ideology.
So you would vote for him based on his
I would have voted for what's his name?
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. Actually, I was the only candidate I was flip-flopping about. I was supporting Trump from the beginning, but I was thinking about I was trying to back Ben Carson. I thought that Ben Carson was ready for the job, and I also want to criticize Trump. I think he's worthy of a higher cabinet position than housing and urban development. Ben Carson's a good man. He knows what he's talking about.
Let's end it on that.
So are you. You're a good man. You know what you're talking about. Salute to you, man.
Do you have any final words? We've been here for an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah. I wanted to get back to my wall presentation.
Okay, yeah.
I did a three-dimensional drawing. I converted it into JPEGs. I made it into a 29-panel slideshow, and with PowerPoint. I could email it to you, but here's my idea. The wall, which runs 1,900 miles from California all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, right? We need a wall. Now, I'm proposing we build it 65 feet high, and we build it into a 3-tiered railway system. And we build the greatest, most unique city ever seen on Earth. That is a city built along the 1,900 miles. And it's all connected by railway and highway. Now, the 65-foot wall is one long continuous monorail station. Now, you You have the ground floor is 20 feet tall, and it's 20 feet for a reason, because the openings from here in Mexico, you need traffic, vehicular traffic to go through. Mm-hmm. So any kind of a big rig truck or whatever's coming through, 20 feet is more than enough to bring in the traffic, okay? It also makes for a nice grandiose hallway where you can put a Dunkin' Donuts or a restaurant or whatever in all of these train stations. You split the 1,900 miles up just like you split up New York City. You have 20 blocks per mile. That means each block is 263 feet wide. And you do it 4 or 5 or 6 blocks deep all the way across the whole 1,900 miles, and you have a city that can house anywhere from 30 to 50 million people. Mm-hmm. Now, the second tier after you go upstairs is the local trains. And once every 6 blocks or so, you have a local station, and you can travel.
When you say second tier,
now, the second tier above that, you have an express train that stops every mile or so, every 2 miles, like an express train, from here to 14th Street, and then here down to the county. You got a connection that way. And then on the top, you have a nice deck 15 feet tall where you can look down upon Mexico and to the United States, and you have a high-speed monorail that only stops once every 75 miles.
Are we building cities on top of cities, or are you just talking about the train?
I'm talking about the train thing right near the wall, right near the border, that you can go and you can stop at the monorail stations, and there you have hotels, and you have all kinds of amenities. You could bring Six Flags Great Adventure. You could bring any Disney. You could make that a 2-week vacation. You could start from California, end up in the Gulf of Mexico, and just be taking this train and seeing all the sights. Meanwhile, you can have working class neighborhoods, factories, all kinds of prosperity and commerce going on. And we get to the immigration problem. Now, there are 48 crossings, legal crossings, in the United States and Mexico. Mm-hmm. And only 3 of them are toll roads. Those are all located in Texas. I say we make all 48 of them toll roads. Because if you look at the Port Authority, they take in $1.5 billion a year in tolls. And that's with only 7 bridge crossings.
He doesn't want us to. Mexico's going to pay for it. You want Mexico to pay for it?
Mexico, and not only as American citizens, but Mexican citizens also have to pay a toll if they want to get into the United States. Not only do you pay a toll, but you also get vetted. There's another thing, is the modern day vetting station at Tornillo in Mexico. It's all mapped out, and you go in there, and they decide whether you're good or not, or whether you should be shipped back, or maybe if they want to put the cuffs on you because you're a criminal, or maybe you go right ahead, have a safe, great stay in the United States, and they point you toward the road north. And we make 48 vetting stations like that, and there are also toll roads. Now, you take all the commerce between the United States and Mexico and car traffic. Believe me, there's traffic jams you can't believe trying to get in to Mexico and get out of the United States. You would have that expensive-ass monorail system paid for within about 2 or 3 years, and then the day that it's paid for, now you got yourself a money-making entity coming in to the United States government. So, and not only that, you've built one of the great a great natural wonder it could become, you know. I think they're not thinking of its full potential by just putting a wall up there. They should use that wall and make that into a city over there.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick. Because if we let you go, you're going to go all day, bro.
I know. I could go all night. There's so many subjects I haven't even covered yet.
I know. We're definitely we're definitely going to have you for part 2. This is just a teaser for the audience. You know, it's late at night. hopefully we can get you here on an earlier note.
I'm a real keyboard warrior, man. I get on. I don't back down. And I'll
It's
go
easy
head
to
to head
see
with
when you
anybody.
look at me
And I
and
do
my
not-
man
I do
Pat,
not
and he
lose
don't
arguments.
back down. Everywhere you go, it goes coast to coast, east side, west side.
I'll tell you another thing is I don't lose arguments either.
I like your hat.
Oh, it's the. I wonder who had that. Was
You know what this hat is?
the
The American flag. Well, it's not the. I mean, the American eagle. This is a Revolutionary War flag. It's called the Glasden flag, and this is before we made the eagle the symbol of freedom and going against tyranny, going against oppressors. But before we had the eagle, we had the snake. The snake was the symbol of freedom in this country.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you something about my hat. Listen, man, back in the days when you was young boy, when I was a young boy, just me when I was like about 13, before I can get a job or do anything like that, I didn't want to really hustle, so I had to chase the money. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the money. You feel me?
You and I both, yeah.
Yo, Flip the Script podcast, man. Don't forget, subscribe. YouTube.com/Quiet Room Battle. Also, YouTube.com/DJ Money for behind the scenes. The new single is out today, man. Go check it out. SoundCloud.com/Mr. 8000. Featuring All-Star, Kai Baby, Lil SNS. It's called Baggy. Go look for it. Go check for it. You already know that. I'm saying, shout out to Mr. Feeney one time.
Anything else you got to say?
Nah, that's it. Talk nice, man.
My man, Patrick. Shout out to Patrick.
A fact.
You had a lot of questions for him, but we're going to ask him next time.
Yeah. Hold it down.
Where you from, born and raised. We'll ask him next time.
Got it.
Hold on, Pat. Hold on, Pat. You got to sit. You got to sit down until we finish. We got to sign out now.
We're not done with
No. Yeah, we're still recording.
Because he may keep going.
No. Thank you for this is Queen's Flip, URLTV.tv. Shout out to G Money in the building, Space Ghost. My man Patrick, thank you for coming up.
Appreciate
This
it.
is part 1. We'll have him again. Patrick, we got to try to get you here earlier, man.
You're going to double my salary, I hope, right?
Oh.
One day. We got to try to get
eventually, right?
Yeah, we got to try to get you up here earlier, though. Because I think that, after somebody watches the episode.
I'm a night owl, actually.
I know, but
now at this point,
Oh, hey, sorry, Pat. Remember to like, subscribe, and review.
Yeah. He's so messed up in the game, yeah.
Shout out to Patrick for being here, man. Shout out to my man Kirk. I saw him. He's in the building. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he got up here, but I got to talk to him after that. And shout out to Kirk, my boy. Remember, lock your doors, close your windows. Use binoculars.
Some guy climbed in my window about a month or so ago.
Yo, Patrick. Patrick, let it go, man. Let it go. Let it go, Pat. Let it go, Pat. Just let it go. Let us sign off the show, Patrick, please. Lock your doors, close your windows. Remember to safeties first. Look out your blinds, and if you see somebody on your property, don't be afraid to use firearms. I'm from Queens.